Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brad Gerard. I am the D6 Integrated Account Manager for D6. And you are joining us today for our latest in our series of our ElevatEd webinars, where we are focusing on introducing our community to various thought leadership concepts within various industries where we have partners that are integrating with D6 and are able to offer enhanced services to our schools. Before we do begin, I would just like to run through some housekeeping and also give everyone a chance to still join. I do see that we do have a few that are still busy logging on. Just so that you know, you won't be able to unmute yourself. You are muted, but that you can please ask questions. So in either the chat box or the question box, please feel free just to post your question there. We will be monitoring it throughout, and then we will answer as soon as we're able to as well. We will, at the end of the presentation, have a little poll that we're running just to get some information from yourselves, get a little bit of a better idea about what the needs are of you and how we can assist. There is also a handout. Just to confirm, the handout is a little brochure from EdShed, our partner who we'll be hearing it from today. If you go to handouts and you click on there, you'll be able to download it directly. And I think that is everything. And I think that we have everyone has joined that we're still waiting for. Brilliant. Okay, so just to give everyone a bit of a background, D6 has recently embarked on a drive to identify partners that work with our schools where we can build integrations that help with the interoperability between D6, where we are the source of truth of data that sits within a school. And this helps us to, through an integration, helps us to improve how schools are able to work with their partners. The latest partner that we will be presenting is EdShed. EdShed are an exciting UK-based company that has incredible tools to help your learners improve their spelling specifically. And that is, today I have the pleasure in welcoming Nozizwe, who will be running through what the options are and what the tools are that EdShed makes available to you. And Nozizwe, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So I am Nozizwe and I work for EdShed. I'm an education specialist. So my background is I was a classroom teacher, primary school teacher. When I resigned from teaching, I was a grade 2 teacher. And from teaching, then I went on to work for Duolingo, creating language courses for them. Then from there, I worked for a coding company as a teacher trainer, and then now I'm here. So with my teaching background, I remember spending time planning to have my students do phonics, and that required a lot of planning, a lot of printing and cutting, all of these things so that my students, would enjoy the learning in the classroom. So this afternoon, what I'm going to share with you is a simpler and fun way to teach phonics and spelling in your classroom without all of the planning that's required. As you know, with teachers, we spend like all of our weekends planning to teach for the next week, and all of our holidays are also spent planning to teach. So basically, EdShed. So what we're going to share with you this afternoon is the resources that we have. So our product is for teaching phonics and spelling, and it is CAPS compliant or aligned. So everything that you do in the English language arts class under CAPS, this is something that we have as well. So it goes in line with that, and it is set up in a way that you don't need to do anything more than just read your lesson plan. So it comes with your lesson plans, presentations if required, and other materials that you'll need as the teacher. So I'm going to share my screen, and then I'll walk you through just a bit of a short presentation that I have, and then I'll also spend time getting onto our website so that I can show you what we have and how it all works. So now I need to share my screen. Brad, can you remind me how to do that?
Sure. Did you accept
Oh,
control?
I see it. Yeah, I see it.
Okay, brilliant.
Okay.
And bottom there, have you got that?
Yes.
I'll tell you when it comes through. Brilliant. It's coming through. Yes, there we can see your screen, Nozizwe. Thank you so much.
So you can see my slide.
Yes, we're seeing a slide there.
All right. So as I said, with EdShed, we're just going to show you a simpler way for you to teach phonics and spelling in your classroom. So this is a much more fun way for both students and teachers. Fun for students because they're playing games, and then fun for teachers because you don't have to do any planning. Okay, this should be better.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we have, so our products ranges from grade R all the way to grade 6, and you'll see the word stages instead of grade. So the reason why we do that is sometimes in a classroom, let's say you're teaching a grade 4 class, you might have a student who's reading at the grade 2 level. So instead of making them feel self-conscious about having to do work from the grade below, we've opted for using stages so that everyone in the classroom knows that it's different stages for different students, because everyone learns differently. So when you see stages, just know that this is the same as grade. So if I look at something in stage R, it's the same as looking at something in grade R. So for our foundation phase, we make use of physical resources as well as digital resources. So I've got a few examples here for you. So for foundation phase, we have physical books that students can use in the classroom. So teachers will have access to these. So if your school buys licenses with EdShed and you've opted for physical resources for the foundation phase, you will have these books, and we also have them in digital form as well. So the nice thing is that you can actually assign these for students to read at home. So if your school assigns homework, you would assign books or games to your students for them to practice or to continue practicing what you've done together in the classroom. So, and like I said, this comes with lesson plans for the entire year. So this is just an example of what the lesson plans look like. So I'm going to show you a lesson plan that's a little bigger for the foundation phase so you can see what that looks like. So this is a lesson plan for actually for this week. So if I were in the classroom and I was teaching grade R, and today I would be teaching lesson 2. So this is lesson 1, but it follows the same setup that CAPS has, where things are broken up into grades and then terms and then weeks. So whatever that you need, you just need to go onto the term that you're in and the week that you're in, and you're able to find your resources. So I just want to show you an example, excuse me, of what the foundation phase lesson plans look like. So if there are any resources required, you'll find a link here. If it's a story that you're going to share with your class, it'll be here. If it's something that's optional, we'll mention that it's optional and then give you the ISBN number as well as the title. Then you can use that if you want to. So this is what the lesson plan looks like. As the teacher, your job is to just go through the lesson plan and you're ready to teach. So the amount of prep time that is required for this is very minimal, in that your job is to just go through the lesson plan and go through resources that you'll need for the lesson, and then you're ready to teach. And then let me just close this. So that was what we have for foundation phase. So I just showed you that, I just mentioned that we have physical resources as well as digital resources, and your students are able to access all of these things online. So your students log in the same way that you do, but you are going to access different things. So teachers, you're going to access everything, games and teacher resources, and your students are only going to access games and assignments that you give to your students. Okay, then for the intermediate phase, it is digital learning. So everything that they do is going to be online. So they're going to need the use of a computer. And I do understand that for some schools, there might not be enough time, because of scheduling and the amount of work that needs to be done in terms of the curriculum. So this can be done in such a way that, option one would be teachers just teaching the actual lesson in the classroom, and then assigning homework for your students if you do give homework. If not, then your students could access their assignments and games on a particular day of the week. So some schools opt for having like a spelling test or a spelling game on a Friday. So the teacher will go through all of the learning materials, and then on Friday, then you set up a game or a hive for your students to do. A hive is something that we will do when we're done with our presentation. So then your students do that, then they still get access to playing these games and learning as well. So like I said, for students, their learning is game-based. So everything that they do on here, except for when they're reading books, is going to be games. So if, for example, you are teaching your students, say the skill is words that end with TION, you teach that in the classroom, and then you can set up an assignment for your students. And then when they get home or in the classroom, if there's time, when they log in, then they'll see the assignment that you've given to them, and then they get to choose what game they want to play. So if, let's say, there's 15 students in the classroom, and maybe 4 choose to play this game and the others choose to play a different game, they're still going to be practicing the same skill that you want them to. The only thing is that students have the freedom to choose what type of game they want to play as they learn that skill. Are there any questions? Brad, you let me know if there are any questions, right?
Yes, to your left-hand side, there is a tab that says questions. So if anybody has questions, they can just pop them in there for us and we can see them.
Okay,
Thanks for the emojis.
And then the one thing that I love about EdShed as a teacher is the assessment tool. So this can be used for your assessments in the English language class a group that you have. So you can do your formative assessments, just trying to see where your students are and how to move on with them. And you can also use it for your summative assessments and just ongoing assessments as well. And there's no marking required from the teacher. So whatever game that your students are playing, whether it's free play or the assignments that you give to them, everything is captured and you're able to access the data from your students' activity. So for the teacher, this takes away that time that you use for marking. So if say, for example, you have your students doing a spelling test on a Friday, then it doesn't have to come back to you to mark it and grade it and then hand it back to your students. It's all done on here, and you can just go and see what your students have done or how they've fared. So on the right hand side, so this is just an example of what your group data will look like. So this will show you the skill that the students practiced and how they did. So based on this alone, then you can differentiate the work going forward. So if you see that, for example, Ray is struggling with a number of these skills, then you can differentiate the work that you do with Ray, and you can also set assignments that are suitable for that specific student. And then I just want to get more into assessment data. So with your assessment data, you can access data for individual students as well as for the whole group. So for the whole group, this is what it looks like. The one, it's like the previous one that I showed you. And for individual students, this is what it will look like. It will also show you the errors that they've made and when they played a particular game. So your assignments that you send to them, for them, like I said, it appears as a game. So on here, it will show you that this student did this work on this day, and these are the points that they accumulated. And then it'll show you as well how they fared, so that you know how to carry on from here onwards. So I am going to go onto the EdShed site so that I can show you what it looks like for you as the teacher. So as yes.
Yeah, just a question that I had. Obviously, those lessons and games that you're sharing with the teachers, also that we're giving to the learners. I would imagine that a lot of that we're doing in class, but can they also do this as homework as well? You're probably going to get to that, but just a question that popped into my head.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. So they can do this as homework. So like I said earlier, if you work at a school where you assign homework, you can send some of this work for your students to do at home. If not, this is something that they can do at school. So it depends on the school and the teacher and how you work with your students. So for some schools, they do have time to get on the computers while at school, then they'll do this at school. And for schools that don't have the access to do that outside of coding and robotics, then this is sent home as homework for students, and then they're able to do this. And another nice thing is that the assignments, you can set them with, like a date for them to access the assignment, and the dates that they need to submit the assignment. So I've seen a lot of teachers will have the assignment run over a weekend so that students get the opportunity to still do this on the weekend. As you know, with some parents, things might get busy with, after school activities and, other extracurricular activities that students do. And maybe the only time they'll find is on the weekend. So some students do this. We actually were looking at our data and we noticed that there was one student who did so many hours of math practice on a Sunday. And he was actually the top of his class with the amount of points that he accumulated, because he just decided to spend hours and hours just practicing math at home. And so that's what students can do. So with their logins, they can log in whether at school or at home. So if you want them to log in at home, you can send them home with the login details, and then they can do that at home. So the lesson plans that I was showing you, so all of these are found on the website. So for you to access your lesson plans as the teacher, you'll have to log in, and then you'll find your resources on here. So where it says EdShed, so this icon that says EdShed, that's where all of your resources will be. And then underneath, then you'll find your groups. So for example, if I'm a teacher at Little Seed School, it will show me, the name of my school and the groups that I have. And then I'm able to see how my students are doing and also set assignments for them. So I just want to show you what the assignments look like on the teacher's side. So your assignments are going to be created here. And with the assignments is, so we've got two options. You can either create a single assignment. So if you're the type of teacher who wants to, create these assignments as you go, so weekly, that's what you'll do. But if you want to plan for the whole term, the whole month, or the whole year, you can do assignment sets, and you can just create assignments for the entire term, and they'll just keep going for your students. So you don't need to go back to create assignments. You're just going to be looking at the data that your students have accumulated. So this is what your assignments will look like. So this will just show you what assignments you've set for your students, and when it needs to go out and when it expires. So that's what you're seeing as the teacher. Your students are not going to be seeing any of this. This is just for you, the teacher. And in terms of your students accessing EdShed, so what we normally do is that if a school is trialing or if they've signed up, then we help with uploading your students onto the system and all of the teachers, and then communicate with teachers as to how everyone accesses this, passwords and usernames, and then everyone is good to go. And then I also wanted to share that we have a curriculum guide, which it's a document that shows you the entire year's work from EdShed. So it will show you what lessons you have for this week, if there are any resources that are required, any books from EdShed, those will also be there. So it's designed in such a way that as the teacher, there is no extra work that you do. Everything is there for you. You just need to find what you're looking for and then use it. So at the beginning, I mentioned that we are CAPS aligned and that we have worked for the entire year. So this is also dependent on the teacher. So with some teachers, they follow this, they do this every single day and follow it according to the way that it's designed. Other teachers just pick what they need. So some teachers would use this for just the assessment piece, where you teach your curriculum and then you use this for your assessments. So the assessments, you can also customize them to fit what you're doing in the classroom. Say, for example, if you are teaching your students about synonyms for this week or the next 2 weeks, then you can teach that in the classroom, and then you can come here and set an assignment for your students to practice or to show evidence of what they've learned in the classroom. So it can be used in many ways. You can follow it the way that it is, or you can look at what you're teaching that week in your curriculum and then find lessons that go with that, and then you can use those. It cuts your work, it cuts it in half, because you don't have to plan for any of this. Like I said, it's there. You just need to access it, go through it, and then you're able to teach what we have on here. Then I want to also show you what it looks like when a student has logged in. So I'm going to cloak or imitate one of my students, and then I'm going to show you what a student will see when they log in. So the reason why I'm showing you what students will see when they log in is because as teachers, I know sometimes we worry about students accessing our lesson plans and work that is not for them. So I'm just showing you this so that you see what your students will get when they log in. So once a student has logged in, this is what they'll see. So if you have set any assignments for them, these are going to appear here. And these right here, these are just free play games. So if they have no assignments, but they still want to do some games, then they'll be able to do that here. So Phonics would be for your intermediate, for your foundation phase students, and then your spelling shed games will be for your intermediate phase students. And then there's also a bit of math and grammar arcade and some quizzes as well. So this is what your students will see. And I just want to show you then what their assignments will look like. So I had said that students will choose what type of game they want to play, but they'll still practice the skill that you have set for them. So once they see the assignment, then they can just click on play, and then these are the different types of games, and students can choose whichever one they want to play here, but they'll still practice the same skill. So let me just show you just one, and then students will choose the level of difficulty for the game that they're going to play. So I'm going to risk it and say how. So as students type, then they'll hear the sounds for each of the letters. So, you know, especially for the younger students, so that they know which sound it makes. And this is how it will work. And then once they've done that, then this will tell them the definition of the word, and then they'll just continue. So as they play, they're going to accumulate points. We call these honeypot points. So these students can use for for customizing their avatar. So you saw that when I was logged in, there was an avatar there with an afro. That's me. And then when I logged in as a student, there was a different avatar on the right-hand side, which showed that student. So students can use these points to customize their avatars. So this is just an example of what the games look like for students. So I'm going to close this. And then I just want to go back to logging in as a teacher so that I can show you other things as well. So I spoke about doing like a spelling game or a spelling test with your students. So here at EdShed, we have something called Hive. So a Hive is basically the teacher creating a game, not really a game, but you're choosing which words you want your students to spell, and then this is something that they will do in the classroom together. So it's competitive, but not really, because they're not going to see each other's names on there. They're just going to see their display name. So they're not going to be competing with their actual friends. So no one's going to end up feeling like, oh, but Johnny is smarter than me, because they're not going to see their names on there. So I've prepared a Hive game for us to try. So you can use your phone if you can, and you can also use your computer if you want. So it's all up to you. So I'm going to go to the Hive game that I've created for us to do this afternoon. So on your, you can either scan this QR code that you see on here, and I think that's going to be easier, or you can just type on your search engine, you can just type shed.ly/262499, and it will take you to the game. Okay, we have a few people that have joined, and others are still joining in. So for this activity that we're going to do, this measures your speed and your accuracy. So sometimes students are very fast, but they're not accurate. Sometimes, they're accurate, but they're not really fast. So I want you to bring your A game, be as competitive as you want. I just want to see who's the best speller. Is it foundation phase teachers or intermediate phase teachers, or maybe parents? So Brad, if you're able to tell me if most people have joined the game, please let me know, then I can start the game, because I can only see 3 people and I'm not sure how many participants we have right now.
Yeah, we do still have a few that haven't joined. I'm not sure if they're having trouble joining. Perhaps give it another few seconds. And then if you are having trouble joining, don't worry. But if you are able to join, please do so. It'll be quite fun. I've done this before. We won't judge anyone. Don't worry.
Yeah, we won't judge, because this is not your real name, so you're safe.
Oh, now someone dropped off. They didn't like that. So, just
I guess some people are scared of competition.
Oh, someone's back. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I see we've got some. Oh, now we got someone else who joined. I think we're going with made-up names here. It seems my name is. Yeah, that's fine.
It's just showing your display name, not your real name. So we're all safe. This is a safe space.
Safe space. I'm a bit scared.
Okay, so I'm going to start the game.
Great.
Okay, so So you'll hear a word, and then your job is to spell the word correctly. So you're just going to type it, and then at the end of this, then we will see how we fared. So I'm going to start the game. Okay. I see no one has any points.
It ran out before I finished typing. I do notice on the top right hand there's a little button to press to hear the word again if anyone misses the word.
So I guess we were all slow with this one. So let's try the next one. Invention. Okay. Okay, well done. Okay, let's go to the next one. Stagnation. Okay, we're just waiting for one more answer. Maybe this person did not hear stagnation. Okay. Migration. All right. Selection. Right. So the reason why I'm repeating the word after it's been said, this would be to accommodate students that might have maybe misunderstood or misheard the word. So in the foundation phase, I would also go as far as enunciating the word so that students can see how I'm making the sounds in order for them to spell the word. Completion. Okay, we're just waiting for one more person to answer, then it'll move on to the next one. Okay, I'm going to skip the word. Okay, next one. nomination. Ooh, that was quick. Okay. Action. All right, and the last one. Hesitation. Okay, so obviously you will know your own display name. So we have Brent Mella in the first place. Well done. Then followed by Brian, then Christine, then Sean, and then Brennan. Congratulations to all of you. So I'm going to end the game, and I'm going to stop presenting so that I can take questions if there are any.
Nozizwe, a question for myself, just having played this now. If I wanted the kids to see who was ranking where, is that a possibility? Can they put their own names in, or is it?
No, with the Hive. So if they logged in, they can they can see their own name. So I don't know if you saw that there were a few teachers or participants with their actual names. So I saw Christine and Brian. So they had logged in. So if you're logged in, you can see your own name. But if you're not logged in, if you're playing anonymously, then you're not going to see your name.
Okay, so it's up to the teacher really to. Ooh, I see Nozizwe. Did you just drop off there? You back? Okay. Was a split second you dropped off. Got it right. You back?
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
Oh, there was just a glitch in the matrix. No worries. Yeah, so that's great. So actually, teachers then can decide for themselves. I mean, if you have a class where that sort of competition would be beneficial, then they can. But at the same time, if not, to make sure that nobody is attention is on them where they don't want it to be, you can actually allow them to be anonymous and do it like that. It's brilliant. Yeah. Another question I have, not related to the game itself, but something I noted earlier. You showed that it's quite easy for a teacher to be able to differentiate between learners by seeing which work they've done, giving them options of different games they can play, and so forth. As a leadership team within a school, is it possible for me to see which things my teachers have utilized as well?
Yes. Ooh. So what we normally do is for our school leadership, the leadership team, we upload them as well, but as admins. So that means they can see everything. They can see what students are doing, and they can see, what each group is doing. So for the teacher, the work that they're doing is within a group. So as admin, you can log in and then go to a specific group to see what's happening in that class.
Yeah, because the way I'm seeing this, like you said, this is very aligned with CAPS, and I can follow this to the letter to really get through my CAPS curriculum, but I can also use this as an additional tool, clearly. And what I'm also imagining in the wild of the classrooms, that some teachers will utilize this more than others, I would imagine. So it would be great for me as in the leadership team to be able to see where am I getting the most utilization, and also, what that means ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's also, we also have leagues. So we will have a league within the school. So it'll basically be all of the groups within the school, and this will show you how each group is faring. So if, say, grade 3 is doing a lot, then they will accumulate a lot of points, and then for that school, then they would be in the first place based on the points that they have accumulated. So as the leader, as somebody that's in leadership, you could also just go to your leagues and see how each group is doing. So this will show you the different classrooms as they've been uploaded. So it will show you that this group has accumulated this many points, which basically shows you that this group has done more work than the next one.
Oh, wow, that's exciting. Are the leagues only within the school, or do you have any leagues between schools?
So we have, for the teachers and students can see the league within their classroom, and then as the teacher, you're able to see leagues within the school and also outside of the school. So world, the list of the world league. So our students are actually able to see that, oh, this school in Italy is now number 5 in the league, or the school in the US is now number 1, and then we are number 2. So they're able to see that. And then for us then at EdShed, we can actually look at the league within schools in South Africa. So, and this is information that we can also share with you if you want. But as the school, you'll be able to see the leagues within your school and also world leagues.
Oh, wow, that's quite exciting. I mean, I know that EdShed is relatively new in South Africa, but as we expand out into many, many schools, I would imagine that becoming competitive within the South African leagues would be quite something to aim for.
Yes,
that's quite exciting.
That's something that we're looking into.
Oh, watching the space. I like that. Yeah, I think we'll definitely be keeping a keen eye on that. I know we did have a question just about the recording. I don't see that there are any other questions that have been asked. I know that we are currently, Delia, thank you. We're running some polls that are being answered. Thank you, everyone, for participating in that. From my side, I think the one of the questions that I noted, you did mention that teachers could utilize the books as well. So is books part of your solution as well then? I know you mentioned it, but just to maybe just expand on.
So books are a resource that we have for the foundation phase. So we have books for our students in grade R, grade 1 and grade 2. Then from grade 3, then it's digitized. So they're not going to teach. Going to use physical books. So the physical books will come with the school's subscription. So whatever subscription that they choose. So if they choose to get physical resources for the foundation phase, then they will get physical copies of the books and posters as well and flashcards.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, wow, that's really cool. And that's specifically then for foundation phase. And obviously the older grades would be utilizing the digital resources more.
Yeah. Let me just say this. So when I say digital, it's, the games and the presentation that the teacher will have when they're teaching their students, but that also has worksheets. So there are worksheets for foundation phase and intermediate phase. So if it's a school that doesn't have access to computers for students, then students will do their worksheets in the classroom, and then at home, if you want them to practice these games, then you can assign work for them to do at home. So then they will play games at home, but in the classroom, they'll do the lesson with the teacher and then worksheets.
Oh, brilliant. I also, the game that we played now, obviously I did that on my cell phone and I saw it was very, very reactive like that. So that does remove the barrier to entry, especially for learners that are utilizing this at home. If there's a smartphone within the home, then they will have access to this then.
Yeah, that's true. And some kids are using phones at home. However, that's limiting, because if you're going to be, I think for us as grown-ups, it's easier because we can find, we can maneuver the keyboard quite with ease on the phone. But then with, say, a child in grade 1, it will take them a bit longer to, spell the whole word, as opposed to an adult. So, if some kids have tablets at home, I would rather they use that, because it makes it easier for them to do this with in terms of speed.
Obviously, because you have the bigger screen. Okay, wow. Okay, so that's definitely useful to note. We will be sharing this video as well. So for anyone who would like to review the recording and have a look at a bit more detail of how EdShed can assist you, and obviously, as if you are interested, please do contact the number and email address that Neelie has put in there, and we will get back to you as soon as possible and do an introduction to Nozizwe and her team. Nozizwe, thank you so much. This was really enlightening. I really enjoyed finding out a bit more about the resources that EdShed has to offer and how you can integrate these digital resources into your classroom, as well as to homework, and the flexibility especially is quite exciting for me. That I know that every teacher has their own way of teaching, even though we all teach to the same curriculum, and having that flexibility makes a huge difference in feeling comfortable to implement a new resource and a new way of doing things. And I think that at this point, we already, as teachers, we know that we need to bring digital resources into our classrooms, and having exciting, easy and accessible digital resources, particularly ones that gamify learning for learners. I think that's something that I like the idea of the league. I like the idea of earning points to get your avatars. These are things that certainly we've seen in our own children that resonates with them. And I appreciate what you guys have brought you. Thank you so much. And thank you for your time.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone for attending.
Well, thanks, Nozizwe, and that concludes our session for today. Please do join us in our upcoming webinar series, D6 Elevated, where we will be introducing partners, including EdShed. We will have new sessions on new topics as well, and here we look forward to hosting you. With that, thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day further, and thank you, Nozizwe, and thank you very much, everyone, for joining us.